Talking the Phillies, it's very popular when we talk about the Phillies. I want to bring up a question to you. In baseball, Mike, does a manager make that much of a difference? Can a manager win games for a team, or is it more that he loses games for a team? What's your take with that?
Well, I think it's more than winning or losing specific games. I think it's setting a tone. I think it's relating to the players. I don't think that baseball managers have a whole lot of impact in this sort of X and O standpoint.
My take is I think a manager doesn't really win many games. Tony Lucia gets a lot of credit for being this genius. I don't think a manager wins a lot of games. Mm-hmm. You have to have good players to win the games. I think a manager can lose you games. And I'm setting you up for something here. Charlie Manuel is getting a lot of credit the last 2 years because he's taken the Phillies to 2 straight World Series and won one of them. That's great. I think it's because he let the players play and he's got good assistants around him. This last week we saw some situations where Charlie Manuel hurt the team and could possibly hurt Roy Halladay. His pitch counts for Halladay, in 2 outings, Roy Halladay threw 253 pitches over 2 outings. Against the Red Sox, it showed up a little bit the way he performed out there. And I'm afraid if you keep parading Halladay out there for complete games and throwing 132 pitch outings in a loss to the Pirates, it's going to catch up in September and October when you really need this guy. What is your thoughts with that?
Well, this goes to this whole pitch count issue, which really gets me fired up because people don't like the idea that that pitch counts are a real element, they're a real factor. They don't like it.
They didn't used to be.
Didn't used to. Back in my day, back in your day, there was 2 guys in a lineup who could hit the ball out of the ballpark, and the ballpark was smaller. There's so many things about it that are different, and there's no comparison. Think of it like this. I think this is what people don't get about this. Think of it like this: if you're a weightlifter and you can bench press 200 pounds, 3 sets of 6 repetitions at 200 pounds. Okay, so that's 3 sets of 6 is 18. If you try and bench press 200 pounds 18 times, you're going to hurt yourself. You're not just not going to be able to do it. You're going to hurt yourself so that you won't be able to do it in the future. That's what this is. There's a limit over which you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to lose your mechanics. You're going to damage your body, and it has short-term effects and long-term effects. And if you want to not believe that it exists, then it's easy to do. It's easy to say, well, he took that guy out of the game, and then the reliever that he brought in got hit, so pitch counts are garbage. Well, that has nothing to do with it. That's not what we're talking about. It's this long-term, down-the-road damage that you can do by overdoing it.
I agree with you, and I think, especially in a losing situation where they're trailing in a game, you have 5, 6 guys in that bullpen. They're there for a reason. Bring them in. Now, I want to bring up another thing. You knew this last game against the Red Sox was going to be under a microscope. Why do you have your backup third baseman Greg Dobbs in? Why do you have your backup catcher in, Paul Hoover, who during spring training, Mike, I will bet you didn't catch 1 inning in a game with Roy Halladay. You had Carlos Ruiz and you had Brian Schneider. Schneider's hurt right now. Ruiz could have had a day off Saturday and then caught Halladay, your ace pitcher, on Sunday. They didn't do it. Both Dobbs and Hoover had an error. The backup shortstop you can't help because Rollins is out. But you had 3 backups in there, and you could have avoided that. To me, that's poor managing as well.
Well, I don't disagree with you. The only thing I would say is I don't want to beat Charlie up too much about that kind of thing because managers make hundreds of those kind of decisions a day. I mean, not just a week or a season, a day. They make so many of those decisions, and I mean, part of it is wanting to give certain guys days off on certain times, and the way your description is correct. I mean, I can't argue with what you're saying. I'm not defending Charlie in that specific instance. I'm just saying it's a long season, lots of decisions, lots of factors that go into the decision, some of which we can't fully grasp. So, I mean, I don't want to beat Charlie up too much because clearly, as we said at the beginning of the segment, he does set that tone for the Phillies. I don't think there's any question about that, and he has been a very positive influence in that way, if not necessarily as an X and O genius.